C, permit fees, D, on-site renewable energy system. Right, okay. So for the fifth question, I can see an A and I can see a D. So the first, sorry, the correct answer for the fifth question would actually be D, on-site renewable energy system, because it's a mechanical system, right? And automatically anything that, any machinery or any cost that you um, spend on things that are tangible on site would be a construction hard cost. The payments received from recycled materials, these are not example of hard costs because first of all, it's not done on site. The recycled materials would be recycled elsewhere, and uh, this is actually something that I mean, it's a good initiative or good incentive that you get. Like the payment that you get from recycled materials is an additional benefit. It's not really a hard cost. Hard cost is anything that you're spending, right? So the payments received again would not be included on this. What is an example of value engineering? A, choosing a flooring material that has higher costs and lower impact on the environment over a flooring material that lowers costs and a greater environmental impact. B, selecting insulation with higher upfront costs but lower life cycle costs. C, increasing the diversion rate of recycled materials. D, replacing an asphalt parking lot with less costly crushed gravel that has a higher. Right. Sorry, there's some error. Okay. So what is an example of value engineering? I think both of you have actually said D to this, right? Right. So that's actually the right answer. Why? Because most of you would know what value engineering is. So value engineering is basically where you reduce the cost while improving the performance of a particular material or a particular system, right? So when you replace the asphalt parking lot, you are replacing it with a lesser costlier material. So you're actually saving on the cost part that has a higher SRI. So SRI is a concept I'll be covering today. It is the acronym for Solar Reflective Index. So we'll be discussing what that does and how it helps. So what SRI does is it tries and reduces the heat that can be that is absorbed by a particular material, right? So when you replace it with a material that has a higher SRI, that means that the material would absorb lesser heat, which would indirectly cause lesser temperature gain. Okay. So the other options, if you see, the first one actually says higher cost. That is where you're actually spending more, which would not be value engineering example. The second is selecting insulation with higher upfront costs. Same, you're spending more, which would not be value engineering. Increasing the diversion rate of recycled materials. So that does not fall under either of the criteria of either lowering the cost or improving the performance. Okay. Uh, so D is the right answer. Both of you got it right. The seventh question. An additional cost that a green building project may have compared to a conventional project is A, added utility costs, B, consultant fees for green building experts, C, increased prices for selecting a sustainable site, and D, permit fees for plumbing. Okay, I think I can see an A and I can see C. Okay, both of these are actually the wrong. So the first one, added utility costs, why that would not be the right answer. So say for example, you are actually, okay, utilities is all of the additional infrastructure and amenities that you're trying to provide to a building. Okay, so say for example, you're trying to improve the green performance of a building by improving the insulation, by installing roof planting, etc. I think I showed us, a slip of a particular building in the first few slides. So when you're doing all of this, automatically the temperature of the building is going to go down, right? So the HVAC load, the the additional energy or artificial system that you need for actually additionally cooling the particular building would actually be lesser. So that would indirectly reduce the cost. Okay, so it would not add on to utility costs. Uh, the increased price for selecting a sustainable site. Now, a sustainable site does not really have increased prices, as in um, these are environmentally beneficial, yes, but there's no fixed rate saying, okay, every sustainable site has an additional value or such. Whereas when you're trying to build a particular green project, you usually try and consult people who are already experts in that particular field, right? So a green building expert, in our case, I think I already mentioned this also. So when you're trying to apply for a LEED program through the LEED online, you usually have one LEED AP on the team, right? So the LEED AP, having a LEED AP over there would actually give you an additional credit. So it's not a prerequisite, but it's an option for earning an extra credit. So this particular LEED AP is also a green building expert. So he or she would actually be somebody who's going to be guiding you on how you can go for a better alternative, right? In terms of material, in terms of systems, in terms of process, etc. Permit fees for plumbing, that yes, so that's going to be there or not going to be there in both the buildings. That's not going to really change. So the additional cost that a green building project may have would actually be the consulting fees. Um, Question number 8. A project team wishes to get a credit interpretation request on a credit and a prerequisite that are unrelated. What needs to happen? A, submit one CIR only for the prerequisite. B, submit one CIR only for the credit. Submit two CIRs, one for each credit and prerequisite. D, submit one CIR covering both the credit and the prerequisite. Okay, I can see. So the correct answer is C. This is clear from the class again, right? So each credit would actually require a CIR separately, and you need to, pay the required amount for each credit separately. And a prerequisite is also a credit. It is just mandatory credit, right? Whereas a credit is basically an optional prerequisite. So, I mean, you understand the difference between both of this. But since both of them are credits, both would require one separate CIR in this. So C is the right answer. Moving on to question number 9. A project team has excluded a section of land in order to meet the requirements of one of the LEED credits. What is true about this action? A, this action would only be allowed under the LEED for existing buildings, operation and maintenance rating system. B, certain section of land can be excluded from the site boundary if a responsible party submits a licensed professional exemption form. C, this action is allowed if the gross floor area of the LEED project building is less than 2% of the gross land area within the LEED project boundary. D, this action would not be allowed under any of the rating systems. Okay, I can see a B and I can see a D. The right answer to this particular question would actually be D. I think okay, there's a C also. So, okay, there's slight confusion here with C. I'll just explain you this. So this action is allowed if the gross floor area of the LEED project building is less than 2% of the gross land area within the LEED project boundary. I think the confusion here came up with another clause that we had. So when I was talking about the three terms, the prerequisites, the credits, and the MPR, which is the minimum program requirement, that is where I mentioned about the 2%, of gross area within the LEED. I mean, the 2% term actually came up there. So why did this come up? It was talking about a minimum area that has to be required for a project to actually be eligible to apply for a LEED certification. So that is where the C comes in. Uh, Somebody suggested a B, right? So certain sections of land can be excluded if a responsible party submits a licensed professional exemption form. No, I think I mentioned this while discussing this particular. What is that? So when we're discussing the lead boundary and site boundary concepts, I remember indicating that a particular parcel in between cannot be left out. Why this? I mentioned a term called gerrymandering. Right? So gerrymandering is where you manipulate, where you increase or where you decrease a particular boundary so that you can earn additional credits. So this actually cannot be done, and a lot of people have been penalized when they opted for this. So this was not allowed under any of the rating systems, no matter which party gives any form. So the correct answer to this question is actually D. I think Nathan got it right. All right. So the 10th question, which of the following is not a credit category for LEED for neighborhood development? A, neighborhood pattern and design. B, smart location and linkage. C, green infra and buildings. D, awareness and education. Okay, I can see D already. Right. If your answer is D, that's right. Because the first three, this is a direct question actually. So the first three are applicable under the neighborhood development, whereas awareness and education actually comes as a credit category for LEED homes. Okay, so that's not for neighborhood development. This is a direct question, so pretty simple to answer. 11th question: which of the following is an example of the triple bottom line in practice? A, an energy efficient building on a built on a site with endangered species. B, a building with good indoor air quality and minimal insulation. C, a residential project that contributes to neighborhood revitalization. D, a building material purchased and shipped from overseas. Okay, I can see Nitin has responded with a C. Yeah, okay. Like everybody has got a C already. So the correct answer is C for this. A, you're actually harming the environment. I mentioned about how you're not supposed to build in environmentally protected areas or environmentally, ecologically sensitive areas. So that is where that goes out of the question. B, indoor air quality. Good indoor air quality is a plus to the building, whereas minimal insulation is actually a minus. So in minimal insulation, um, is not the right term over there. It should have been adequate insulation or appropriate insulation. So that goes out of the question. And D, a building material purchased and shipped from overseas. This is something we'll be learning when we're discussing material procurement and materials in general. So in that particular chapter, we'll be discussing how local materials are actually preferable over anything that's procured from a very long distance, because a lot of energy also goes into transporting one material from one place to another. Uh, the C is a residential project that contributes to neighborhood revitalization. That actually increases the community engagement, that increases the benefit that it can provide to people, right? And we also saw how um, a particular project that increases the neighborhood revitalization increases a lot of interaction between the people, and there's a lot of life between the buildings. People are more encouraged to actually commute using alternative methods in such cases, right? So that also contributes to the environment and reduces your cost. So Latin C is the right answer. 12 performance periods are part of which LEED rating system? A, LEED for existing buildings, operation and maintenance. B, LEED for schools. C, LEED for new construction. D, LEED core and shell. Okay, so I can see A already. Yes, so this is again a direct question. Operation and maintenance is the right answer. We discussed about how it has to have at least a 60% occupancy, and it has to be in operation at least for a year before you apply for an operation maintenance, right? So schools, new construction, core and shell, they do not have periods under their criteria or consideration. Let's move on to question 13. What tool provides cost-effective, streamlined certification process for multiple building certifications? A. Energy Star Target Finder. B. Lead Volume Program. C. Energy Star Portfolio Manager. And D. Lead Online. Okay, I can see a B. So Lead Volume Program is the right answer. This basically the only keyword you have to look for here is the multiple building certifications. Okay, so anything that you have to do in bulk, you have the Lead Volume Program. It is earlier called the Portfolio Program. Moving on to question 14. A 10-acre multi-building development has 5 buildings. How is the lead boundary determined if each building would be a separate lead project? A, the lead boundary is set at the perimeter of the 10-acre area. B, the project team determines the lead boundary for each lead project. C, the lead boundary is at the edge of each building's footprint. D, each building has a boundary at the edge of a 2-acre area. Okay, I can see a B. Right. So the project team determines the lead boundary for each project is actually the right answer. It does not matter how big the area is. It does not matter if you're looking at only the building's footprint. Actually, you're not supposed to be looking at only the building's footprint because you will be looking at the development footprint under lead program and lead certification. You'd not only be considering the building's footprint. But the project team is the one that has the highest authority in determining what they want to, propose as the lead boundary under each project. So moving on to question 15. What should be used during all project phases to verify the green building goals are being met? A, lead scorecard, B, materials checklist, C, ID credit catalog, and D, commissioning plan. Okay, I can see an A already. Right, so the lead scorecard. This is again a very direct question. What should be used during all project phases? It's the lead scorecard. Materials checklist, ID credit catalog, commissioning plan. None of these are terms that we came across. Whereas the lead scorecard, was the one it came in right from the pre-design phase. So they were asked to rate the building preliminarily also, right? So from the preliminary rating in the pre-design phase, after every phase, the lead scorecard is where you compare and contrast, and you see all the alterations that have to be made to actually match up to your the target that you had set for yourself, right? What does ASHRAE 55 2004 specify? Energy performance, indoor air quality, thermal comfort, commuting service. Okay, so so I can see that you know the answer to this, thermal comfort. But we'll actually be referring to this again in the energy chapter. So I think this has been wrongly placed in this chapter, right? But thermal comfort is the right answer. So after 55, 2004. This is one of the standards that we suggest that you remember. A lot of questions are actually asked directly like this. So after 55, 2004, what does it, what does it help out with? What does it specify? This is a very direct question that comes in lead exams. But in case you didn't know this question, it is all right. Because this comes in another chapter. And when we visit that chapter, we'll explain a little more on this. Question number 17, what can be used to compare the energy performance of two buildings? Okay, this is again a question from the same chapter. So we can skip it for now. But the answer to this would be Energy Star, the D option. So this is again something I'll be mentioning or we'll be checking when we read the energy chapter. Question number 18. What is not covered under the LEED for core and shell rating system? You have to choose two answers for this. A, envelope. B, tenant fit out. C, furniture, furnishings and equipment. D, HVAC system, E, structure. Right. Okay. So, right. So, all of you have got B and C, I think. So, planning fit out and furnishings for furniture and equipment, FF and E. Both of this would not be covered under LEED potential. Um, Question number 19. What is not true about a closed system in the built environment? A, used resources are released outside the system. B, all aspects of the closed ecosystem are highly integrated to ensure maximum efficiency. C, materials in a closed system are used for other purposes at the end of their useful life. D, there is no waste. Okay, this is again something that comes in the energy chapter. But in case you're aware of, the concept of life cycle analysis, and you're aware of how, how a closed system works in the built environment, you'll be able to answer this particular question. So the answer for this is actually A. So closed system is something, uh, the it's called a cradle to. I'm not. I've got a term for this. So uh, all of the resources that have been taken into this particular system are not released outside the system. So everything that has been taken in would be used in the process, okay? And used resources are not released outside the system. That is the basic concept of the closed system. 20. Which of the following projects would not meet the minimum program requirements for certification? A new building on an office campus located next door to an existing certified building. B, a modular classroom that can be moved to another location on the school property. C, a new laboratory building that will be located partially underground. D, a building project that is 3 stories high. Right. So the answer to the last one is also B, a modular classroom that can be moved, for the simple reason that it's a temporary building. I remember mentioning this under, the minimum program requirements, so the MPR, right? So anything mobile, anything dismantleable cannot apply for LEED certification. So B is the right answer to this. Um, I would suggest that you try and score what you've got up until now. Okay, so out of 20, how many right answers? Actually, I think there are a couple of questions that were from the other chapters. You can leave them out. This is just for like for you to rate yourself to see how how much you've actually understood from the chapter. So in case you feel that there are a lot of disparities from the actual answers to your answers, and you need clarifications, then you can let me know. After finishing all of the sessions, when we give the question banks, you'll actually have more questions to practice from each chapter. So questions that are related to certification, questions that are related to the LEED process itself, will actually come up over there. So there might be more questions that you can go through. You can have clarifications on, you can have doubts, and we can clarify them also during that phase after we finish all the chapters. So, all right, I'm going to start with the next concept. Okay, give me 2 minutes. There's some issue with the screen sharing.